It is a 750 or 750 watt tungsten source, which is pretty bright. It's got a softbox on it, right? So it's like a big bag with a white silk kind of diffuser in the front of it to make the light nice and soft. Back here, you can see the stand that's holding it up. So you can see his seat here, and then about 6 feet behind him, and about 4 feet to the camera left is a stand holding a light that's about almost directly behind him. It's kind of more off the camera left side, but that's going to be casting down on the back side of him. And I don't have it here yet, but you'll see me walk in a bounce source to add this fill over here. So in a 3-point light setup, you have how many lights do you think? You guys are wooden smack. Your main light is called what?
Key light.
Yes, your main light is called your key light. The key light is going to create shadows on the other side of your subject's face. You fill that in using not a backlight, a fill light. Then that's going to do a good job to illuminate the front of your subject, but in order to separate them from the background, you're going to want a backlight. Hey, cool. So let's take a look at how these things all kind of combine to form the most commonly used lighting setup, one way or another, ever. So here's our key. Nice and soft, nice and even, right? You get shadows. That's just what's going to happen when you use light. That's totally fine. Shadows are okay, by the way. Don't try to eliminate shadows. So now I'm going to walk in a big white board and see how that's bringing up the ambient level of light on the other side. All right, so no fill, there's the fill. You see it most on the guitar and on his chin here. All right. So that's the fill light. Next, I'm going to walk around, we're going to turn on this backlight here, and watch what that does. So with all three of these lights in play, you can kind of see how it really helps to shape, or to illuminate, then shape, and then separate, right? But really to shape, illuminate, and separate. So you can see in, there we go. So in this shot, you can see our whole setup right here. So here's our key light. This is our bounce board acting as a fill. And the fill here, this is technically a 2 light setup. It's 3 sources of light, but it's only 2 physical lights. So 2 like energy sources. This fill is actually just stealing light from the key and reflecting it or bouncing it back up onto him to bring the light level up. Some people will use a key light, a fill light, and then a backlight. I don't like to do that whenever I can help it because the fill light is going to then cast its own shadows, right? It also looks what I call sourcey. So when you can see that there's a light right there, right? You can usually tell because it gets like super hot and then falls off, or you can tell like where that spread is coming from. A bounce board is just going to bring up that ambient light that the key light is casting onto someone. It's not going to look like another light there. Now, we're going to remove a couple of these to show you what some cool looks could be. So here is no fill. This is basically the same lighting setup that we did with that iPhone or a C300 video I just showed you. I like this look a lot. This is really dramatic and it just looks cool. Almost always, to get something to look really neat, you need at least 2 lights. You need a key and some kind of edge or some kind of fill. So here, got 1 key light, no fill, and we got the backlight. And I think this looks really cool. This shadow is kind of endearing in a way, and it's totally fine to have. And you can separate him still using this edge that's provided by that backlight. Everybody seeing that? Cool. Now this is a case of what I was talking about, kind of being a little sourcey. So see how you can tell it's brighter here on his shoulder, and then the light falls off as it goes across his chest. That indicates that, of course there is a light there because we see light, but it's when that is really dramatic, you can tell that the light is exactly 4 feet off of camera. That doesn't really look all that great. What else we got? I think we got witness protection coming up next. Yeah, there we go. So this is just what the backlight's doing. Okay? Light something from behind, always looks cool. I think if there's one kind of lighting tip, if you want something to look cool, backlight. Always looks cool when something's backlit. And then there is, I brought in the filaments, I was like, but the fill is really doing nothing without the key that is bouncing off of it, so that was kind of a dumb move. But yeah, this is our final 3-point lighting setup. Key, fill, backlight, and we get a lovely look.